And the final question is what's to assess? To reiterate something I said at the beginning, even if you are dead set on the only way to properly assess student learning is a small number of high stakes, really important summative assessments, that's fine. You can go back to that. We have the freedom to teach our students how we see fit. However, in this moment when we will be remote and not in the same room as our students for the first 2 weeks at least, I think it's really, really important that you do something to assess how your students are doing in your class. It could be as simple as, did they read the syllabus? Or did they watch that video? I mean, literally, it could be a single question. Did you read the syllabus? I'm going to show you very quickly some additional things that we can do. And the reason we do this is giving students lots of little assessments is an effective way to help them learn in the class. And if they do, and I'll give you an example from my history class. I do, my students read the textbook, right? I've got 21 chapters they read in a semester. At the end of every chapter, I've got a 3 or 5, depending on the semester, 3 or 5 question multiple choice quiz. And they have the book, they can look up the answers. It's really easy, right? Am I testing some deep, thoughtful knowledge that they've imbued and embedded and going to become future awesome historians? No, but I do know that they've read the textbook and they get some what feels like free points. It doesn't matter. They still have to work for them. They still have to take the quiz and answer the question. So that's an example of what you can do. It maintains that engagement. And it's a way to, again, assess their engagement in the class. If you have a couple of quizzes in those first 2 weeks and they don't take them, then those are students you want to reach out to and let them know, hey, what's going on? What can I do to help you be successful, to stay enrolled in this class? Hang in there. We're going to be back on campus next week or a couple of weeks later. Understanding the syllabus, again, that was an option I mentioned. And then in any of our disciplines, even if we have a heavy hands-on portion to our course that we can't get to right now because we're remote, we surely can do theory and introduction. We can talk about our disciplines. They can learn about the role and the place that our discipline has, in their future career in pursuing that discipline, or perhaps in their future career in other ways that they're, getting a degree in a different discipline. They can certainly, again, gain the theory and learn about the theory of what we're teaching. How to assess. So these are tools within Canvas. I mentioned discussions, quizzes, surveys, and assignments. Let me quickly do each of those. And here we go. Okay. Assessments. Now I mentioned discussion, quizzes, assignments. Let's make this quick. I'm going to go through this quickly. And I'm going to end with some additional resources for you that'll explain how to use Canvas in a lot more detail than I'm doing today. Adding to the modules are a great way to organize how students progress through the material in your course and through the activities and assessments in your course. I'm clicking on the plus symbol for the module. I'm going to create a discussion. I'm going to call this discussion introductions. I'm going to edit the discussion. I'm going to say, introduce yourself. Where were you born and why are you here? Okay. And I'm going to click save and publish because I'm going to just quickly go through this. I like to model for my students, especially on introduction. I was born in Sacramento and I'm here to teach you history. Great. Okay. That's discussion, and I can gauge immediately my students' connection with the class. They're forming a community of learners by getting to know each other. Obviously, I didn't give you the full details of what I would typically put in introduction, but that should give you an idea of how you can use that. Going back to modules page, I'm not going to create.
Greg, can I ask a real quick question about that?
Sure.
I was setting up my discussions and I did a sample test, blah, 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 and I can't figure out how to delete it. Can we delete
Yes, you can.
responses so that my students don't see my test students saying blah, blah, blah?
Oh, yes, you can actually. If you go into an introduction as an instructor, you can delete anyone's response. As a student, you can only delete your own response, but the Adkins menu for the discussion post,
and just delete there. Okay.
There's a delete option right there.
Maybe I was in student view when I was trying to do it. Thank you.
Okay. So let's add a quiz or a survey. I'm going to click on the Sorry, let me say that one more time. I'm on the modules page. In this module that I've created, I'm going to click the plus symbol and I'm going to add a quiz. I'm going to create a new quiz and I'm going to call it syllabus. And this quiz is going to have one question. So I click on it to open it, select the edit button. I'm going to skip the details. I'm going to go straight to questions and I'm going to add new question. It's going to be a multiple choice and it's going to be how many points are required to pass this class? The correct answer in my class is 700. Some incorrect answers are 800, 250, and 654. Great. Update question. That was a 1 point question. I didn't change that. I'm going to click save and publish. Great. Now, if I go back to that module page, right, I've got a quiz. Now, I just created one question. Is there any work in me grading that quiz? 0, because it's automatically graded. All the questions are objective, so the answers are either right or wrong. And so that's, again, another way for me to engage, to connect with my students, engage with them. Other quiz questions are, in fact, I'm going to make this, do my last thing and make an assignment. So on the modules page, click the plus button for the module. I'm going to click an assignment. I'm going to call this reading review. Okay, same thing. Click on the assignment to edit it. To open it, click on the edit button. In my instructions, after reading the first 2 chapters of our text, what are you most interested to learn and practice in your career as an underwater basket weaver? Please type 3 complete paragraphs. Okay, I'm giving them some detail, right? I'm going to make this a 20-point assignment. And the submission type, this is a detail that's really important for assignments. The submission type in this example is I'm going to make it online, of course. This is what I wanted. Submission type online. What are their options for entry? I only want a text entry. I don't want them uploading a file, right? There's other options that I have. I want text entry. Do I want to give it a due date? Sure, I'll give it a due date. Let's see, January 15th is a Saturday. The 22nd is a Saturday. So let's make this January 21st. If I don't type a time, it defaults to 11:59 p.m. that night. So I have just wrecked Friday night for my students because they have an assignment due at 11:59. But because of the pandemic, they shouldn't be partying anyway, right? Oh my gosh, I just betrayed a terrible, terrible stereotype of college students. They spend Friday night partying. They shouldn't be taking care of their kids or working Friday night anyway. They should be doing work for my class. It's available right now, so they could turn it in right now. So I'm going to go back to my modules page, and you'll see here that for my methods to assess my students over these first couple of weeks, right, I've just given them 3. I had them type an introduction. Now, I didn't make that worth points, although I could have. I created a syllabus quiz. In my own class, I do have questions like, how many points does it take for you to pass the class? I want to make sure my students know that and show me that they know that early in the semester. I do that with some other parts of my syllabus. And then finally, I typed up that quick assignments on the reading review. So I hope that these things that I've shown you in this class, in this session rather, are plausible and meaningful things that you can do over the next couple of weeks to make sure that you are both staying connected with your students, keeping them enrolled in your class so that they will learn when we head back to campus, that you're able to also add some value and some meaning that'll help you meet your course objectives over those first couple of weeks of the class. And I will so say, do I have one more slide? Oh yeah, I do have a slide here. We have time for questions and answers to wrap up. I think I didn't interrupt do the stop share on my recording, so I will have some editing work to do later on today or perhaps tomorrow, but that won't be a problem. So let me share this link right here, excuse me. It's linked from the college website, but I created a link shortener, and that is the resources for how to use Canvas, how to teach online. And I'll go straight to that page right now. So the online education support resources page, again, this is linked from the CRC website on the employees side of things. This has information about how to use Canvas. We've got recordings of sessions like these. Canvas, the instructor of the company, they do a great job in updating and creating effective how to use Canvas manuals. They do their own videos as well. And we've got a lot of other resources on the site that are there for both using Canvas and also for effective online teaching. I hope that in this hour and a few minutes that you got enough to help you make a good, effective, and a quality stab at getting something done with your students over the next 2 weeks and however long, knock on wood, our campus closure lasts.